What up, Bulls Nation? We are back in action. We got CHGO Bulls pregame coming up for y'all right around the corner. Bulls taking on the Raptors in Toronto tonight after a weekend off. Injury updates for both teams. What should we expect from this Raptor squad who's missing key pieces? But, hey, Bulls play down their competition sometimes. Also, there's a lot of trade talk going on around the NBA. Some of it's about the Bulls. A lot of it happened this weekend. We're talking about that next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into CHGO Bulls pregame presented by Coors Light, coming to you from Studio B, live here on Monday night, our CHGO headquarters. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That's Big Dave. Bow, bow. BAWL Sports. Will, the GOAT. Perfectly coiffed. Gottlieb, Will_Gottlieb. And on the controls, one and only Queen, Katie Dovey. What's up, Katie? We got simultaneous pregames going on right now.
Yeah.
Here we are in Studio B, Studio A over there, Bears. We got, if you're a glutton for punishment, there's two Chicago teams that you can be disappointed in watching tonight.
Yes.
Isn't that lovely?
Isn't that awesome? And one,
Monday night.
I'm excited always to watch a Bears game.
Yeah.
Just Caleb on national TV just excites me, gives him more opportunity to see what the hell is wrong with this team. And yeah, I hope they win. They have not won a road game in quite a long time.
They haven't won any games in quite a long time, to be fair.
Yeah, fair point. And they're out of playoff contention.
Seven in a row?
I saw their last victory live in London. That was the last time.
That's a flex.
Clearly the Bears season epically collapsing as it has is you going to London is to blame for that.
Sure. I had the time of my life.
Coincidence? Dave goes to London, has a wonderful time, Bears win, comes back from London, shit hits the fan, everything goes wrong.
Yeah, cool. I'll take the blame and I'll do it again.
Okay.
I'll do it again and again. Oh, London was incredible, y'all. Dang. Oh, I had a blast.
Well, at least there's that silver lining to that Bears season.
Matt is always happy for others.
Hey, man, of course I am. So happy for you.
I might not need no hats.
Happy to have our fellow Bulls fans joining us. If you're hanging out with us on YouTube, hit that like button. We're going to preview tonight's Bulls-Raptors game. Raptors currently one of those teams peskily beneath the Bulls in the Eastern Conference standings. Doing a better job of that TANK word. But before that, we did want to touch on some of the latest stuff we got over the weekend from various NBA reporters on trade season. Because trade season officially began over the weekend, guys.
Yes.
We kept talking about that December 15th date when a lot of things open up, a lot more contracts become tradable. And the Warriors reportedly looking for more scoring punch to add to their roster, made their move. They acquired Dennis Schroeder from the Nets. A big move there. They get some, I believe, second-round draft capital, and then they send over the injured DeAnthony Melton. So now everybody's asking, which domino is the next to fall, and might it be a Bulls player? Yes. I think we might have to wait a little bit longer, but we heard things about Vooch, about Zach, and about Lonzo Ball from different reports over the weekend, and all of the reports have one thing in common, which is that the Bulls still very much are open for business.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that we touch on the Dennis Schroeder thing because I think that's interesting and I think it affects the Bulls trade landscape, right? Mm-hmm. And so
I agree.
You see a guy like Dennis Schroeder who's having an incredible season, expiring contract, $13 million roughly, and he gets traded for DeAnthony Melton, who's basically, even money swap there. Obviously, he's out for the year. It's an expiring contract. It's dead money. And then 2 second-round picks, and a second-round pick swap. I don't have the exact specific picks in front of me right here, but I think when you factor in his contract and the way that he's been playing, so $13 million plus. I mean, he cooled off, but he was playing out of his mind. He was playing some of the best basketball of his career, and the fact that they were only able to get 2 second-round picks and a second-round pick swap, also not taking back any worse salary or salary for longer years.
Right.
I think that should inform a little bit about what could be potentially out there for a guy like Lonzo or for Vooch. And so we can talk about both those guys in the news that has come up, but I do think that this is the kind of move that starts to set the marketplace. And so when you're looking at or thinking about other guys that could get moved, now you have to think about what that return is going to be like through this context, through this lens of 2 second-round picks and a second-round pick swap, which is, I'm sure the Nets would have loved a first-round pick, and maybe they could have gotten one if he had continued to play this well up until the trade deadline. But very wisely, they were not going to let it go that long. They said, let's get this done. I don't care if it wasn't exactly what we wanted, but he's helping us win too many games. We just traded for our own pick back. We need to lose some games here, and that is what the Nets are going to do.
Yeah, that part right there. We're not in a position to be demanding anything. And so the things I'm reading and hearing, like the Bulls are willing to accept second-round picks for Lonzo. Like, really willing? Like, no, bro. Like, if they say, look, here's some motor oil, here goes this new container Will has right here. Maybe his laptop.
That's not tradable.
Who knows? Yes, it is.
Untouchable.
It is. Everything
Remember,
in this room is tradable. All right now, all of it is tradable. But that's what the position the Bulls should be from. As Tim Legler told us, all your 8 phones should be out, all your promo codes, all your doors should be open, free shipping, all of that should be available to the Bulls. They should not be in a position where they're trying to demand things. You should be in a position of just yes, okay, cool, thank you very much, have a nice day. And that's exactly what the Nets did, because Dennis Schroeder is one of the top scorers in the league right now, ladies and gentlemen, and they still said, fine, give us that. We'll take it. So, very smart.
Katie asked in the comments if Goat's hair is up on the trading block.
Yeah.
And Will just said no, but I'm going to say like 5 first-round picks.
And a swap.
And a swap. All right, well, there it is.
Swaps.
He said and a swap.
That feels right, yeah.
But
it is.
I want that swap.
Dave, I genuinely
2031.
agree with your sentiment about like, hey, the Bulls aren't really in a position to be making any demands and being open to take what you can get kind of business to just get off of some of these veterans.
Cheetos.
But that's the thing is like, it doesn't matter if they've got 8 phones ready. Like no one's calling. And I think they have to be actively making those calls and trying to get a deal done, because I don't think the deal that they want for a guy is necessarily like coming to them. Not to say you're wrong, but
Will. You can call too.
Yeah.
Like you can do two things.
You gotta be making those calls.
You gotta do 2 things with the phone: pick them up and call them. And then who's calling me on this one? Oh, I'm gonna call them on this one. Yes, you should be busy right now.
You get the Joe Dumars like.
Yeah, man. Should be very busy.
I spy a Spathis in the comments.
Hey,
I don't care if the Bears are playing. Get the boys in studio. hey, take it up with your old boss, Jake, Joey. Also, Joey, correct. I texted you like 30 minutes ago. Text me back.
Oh my God.
Come on.
Look at this man.
I was just calling to let him, or I texting him to make sure he knew about our holiday party coming up on Friday.
Okay.
Because he better freaking be here. You hear that, Joe?
What if he's busy?
If you are not here, I don't care.
What's you gonna do?
It's a CHGO holiday party. We need a Spathis here. If he's not here, I will go find him where he is.
So ain't Spathis, so we'll take
burlap sack. Bring him back here and make you have a drink with me.
Yeah.
That could be any Spathis.
We'll take George. Joey. I'll take George and Lisa.
Troll?
Yeah, Troll come through. Baby Joey. All of them, man.
Nothing livens up a work holiday party like a troll.
Or a baby.
Or a baby. Okay, so get back to trade talk. Dave, you said, not in a position to make demands.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, our guys Marc Stein and Jake Fisher, one of whom, Stein, will join us for postgame tonight with his latest intel. They co-wrote something for Steinline Substack over the weekend and had this to say, quote, after failing to extract any draft compensation from OKC and its Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey swap in June, Chicago is said to be seeking a first-round pick to part with center Nikola Vucevic. Also, Jake Fisher mentioned that a source called him, quote, crazy if he thinks the Bulls could fetch even multiple second-round picks for Vooch.
Yeah, he said that on our show.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Per sources.
So, look, that's what the Bulls are asking. That's what the market is saying to them. We would like a first-round pick for Vooch. No. How about a couple of seconds? No. I find it hard to believe that Vooch couldn't fetch at least a couple of second picks.
I do too.
The way he's playing right now. I feel like
he can get 2 second-round picks. I feel like it.
In a vacuum, absolutely, but we're not in a vacuum.
Who knows?
Like think about like which teams would be interested in Vooch. You have 6 teams that are in the second apron right now, I believe. So they're kind of out of the question because it's just hard to move that much salary when when you're already in the second apron. And then you look at the teams that just like, need a center right now. And there's just not that many of them. I mean, the Warriors, the Magic are 2 that come to mind and I think would make some sense. But like the Warriors just gave up one of their tradable assets. They can re-aggregate Dennis Schroeder into another deal now based on the timing that they did that. But I don't think they really want to do that. So, I just don't see a lot of options out there. And so then when you think about who are the people that are going to be in the market for a player like Vooch, and then is he going to be closing games for them if they make the second round of the playoffs? And if you can answer yes to both things, then maybe a first-round pick would be on the table. But if I'm the Warriors and I'm not going to be closing games with Vooch at the center spot, like why am I giving up a first-round pick in order to get this guy? Yeah, he would help them. But it just doesn't really add up in terms of like, is that value? And it's still like, I think the other thing that we're starting to see right now is like $20 million is not a huge salary right now. It's pretty mid-level, but it's still more than what is probably going to be moved around for a lot of these teams because they're just either close to the luxury tax or close to the apron. And so I think teams are just really going to be hesitant to take in that kind of salary. And then on top of that, to be willing to give up picks to take in that salary, I think is another question.
Let me ask you, do you put Vooch, talking about trade value, do you put it in the same category you put Valanciunas?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I think he's clearly a better player. I think he provides more value as a shooter. And then they're obviously like, neither of them are great defensive players. Right. But if you have a guy who could be $10 million versus a guy who could be 20, that matters. So I don't know. I think they're probably in the same category, but like the Lakers were interested in Valanciunas because of the fact that he was cheaper. Like other teams I think could be interested in him because he just has a smaller salary. And I think that is like teams would rather have, 75% of a player's production for 50% of the value. Yeah. Right. Then, Vooch for 20 is not as valuable as Valanciunas for 10.
And I completely agree. That's why I asked the question. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. He's in the same category because yes, Vooch is a better player and all of that, but it's just what you just said right there. How many of these teams are looking for starting centers? So if he goes, and we discussed this with Marc Stein, I was like, well, how many are going? What's his position going to be if he goes to another team? Backup. He's coming off the bench. So if you're coming off the bench, how about I get a guy that's about $10 million cheaper coming off the bench who could get me a double-double? Like, that's better value. So that's where Vooch is. I need the Bulls to not stop thinking that he's over here. When he's over there, he's way over there hanging out with Valanciunas because that's how the league sees you. It's not about how you see yourself. It's how the league sees you right now. And they're letting them know. No first, no second. You go sit in the Valanciunas corner, bro, and you wait till we call you.
Now, the one thing that could change this is if a team who is like legit a playoff team has a big injury at the center.
Sure. That's the only thing that changes, yes.
And that's why holding out could potentially get you that first, but it might not. And then you've also added all these wins in the meantime, waiting for. Yes. And so that's, I think, why the Nets deal was a smart one is because I don't care if we can't get a first year. The more important thing is the value of our own pick. And that's what we need to improve right now. And that's what we're doing by trading Schroeder away.
Help!
Along similar lines, there was also some stuff about Lonzo Ball over the weekend. Evan Sidery, NBA reporter for Forbes, tweeting that the Bulls are willing to trade Lonzo for second-round draft capital. Mentioning that Ball's $21 million contract is expiring. And he could help a contending team shed future salary while having a high upside backup point guard. So it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with, your 4-step plan from one of our episodes last week to getting the Bulls back on track. Shout out Chris Farley. That like the Bulls, if they were able to get a couple of second-round picks, any kind of draft capital in a Lonzo Ball trade, could bring back a contract that goes into next season as well. It doesn't have to be, a swap of expirings. If the team the Bulls, are talking to who want Lonzo and want him for their playoff run, have a player with 2 years left on their deal and they want to get that off their books, and Lonzo's expiring is enticing to them, that might, have some draft capital come in the Bulls' way. if that were able, and while doing so would still not interfere with their plan of cleaning their books by 2026.
Yeah, I think that's obviously the key. That's like best case scenario though. And I think you have to be willing to, what they should be willing to do is take on money that's even longer, because I think that would help them get some real assets, which is I think what the idea would be here. So for example, I don't think that this is super realistic, but let's say the Bulls trade Lonzo Ball to the Lakers for Rui Hachimura. They are taking on $17 million of salary this year, so they're getting a little bit of breathing room away from the luxury tax, but they're taking on 2 years of that. That's a deal I would be happy to take if it got them a pick, because, again, you're not using that extra cap space except for to take on bad salary until 2026 or 2027 anyway. And so why not take on an extra year? Like, what flexibility are you really getting by clearing money off your books? To me, it's just you use that space to take on bad contracts or worse contracts in order to get draft picks. And so that's just one that I can think of off the top of my head, because obviously I've been playing around with the trade machine and the Lakers have come up.
Favorite hobby.
But I think that concept of, you take on multiple years in a draft pick and you send away the expiring, that's the formula with Lonzo.
We got to take a quick break to shout out Coors Light. When we come back, I do want to touch on the latest from Lonzo. On Zach LaVine. Bobby Marks mentioned him in an interesting write-up for ESPN Plus that dropped earlier this morning. So stick around for that. Stick around for our thoughts on Bulls-Raptors matchups tonight, plus starting lineups. Hit the like. Here's some Coors.
Beer. You got to have it. You got to drink it to embrace your chill if you're 21 and over. 21. Only, ladies and gentlemen. Because between work, social media, and the choices life throws our way, it's no wonder we're more worked up. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn that rained out barbecue into the Will to Go Gottlieb and Will Purdue 512th annual karaoke house party location TBD? Or after a tough loss, settle scores with an ice cold peace offering. Make the choice to choose chill, then reach for a frosty cold Coors Light. Because when those mountains turn blue, yes, you know what to do. Cold lager, cold filter, cold package, smoother finish. So when you embrace a chill mindset, make sure you crack open a frosty cold Coors Light. It is crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. Make the most of those times to choose chill. Choose Coors Light. Get delivered straight to your door via Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Basketball. CoorsLight.com/CHGO Basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden,
Colorado.
All right, y'all. So circling back to the latest trade buzz for the Bulls, Bobby Marks wrote something for ESPN Plus, basically making the all NBA trade buzz teams. Essentially like which names are garnering the most interest and buzz around the NBA mid-season. And he made first and second teams as well as some honorable mentions. And on that all trade buzz first team is our guy Zach LaVine at one of the guard spots right next to Jimmy Butler. But so Mark's talked a lot in this, in case you missed it or in case you don't have ESPN Plus, about LaVine having a trade kicker, a bonus that might also complicate things for teams that might be interested to bring him in. Then talked about how the whole injury-plagued thing or the injury-prone thing is lesser in the minds of most people around the league right now, because they're seeing that LaVine is healthy and playing very well, scoring and shooting very efficiently, 50% from the field, 43% from three. So this is a guy that teams might want, but Marks' final point is one that we have all made and heard other people who are talking NBA trades make. And in doing so, cited a anonymous NBA GM from the Western Conference who said to Marks, quote, "If we were operating in the 2017 CBA and there were no apron rules, I could make a case to my owner about Zach LaVine. But his salary boxes you into a corner on how we can add to the roster." So Marks' latest that he's hearing from an anonymous NBA GM is, yeah, Zach's a nice player and he's playing well right now, but this freaking CBA.
Damn CBAs. Why does the CBA hate us, Will?
I don't know, but it's been really difficult for a lot of these teams. And I think you're feeling that sort of frustration with it, not understanding exactly what the limitations are. I think in the Bulls case, like having a contract that would have been fine if you had signed it before, which they did. But now that these rules have come in and changed it, that really kind of hamstrings you and messes you up. And so, you do feel for Arturis there in terms of what he can or thought he might be able to do with Zach's contract. But the reality of the situation is like, this is the new CBA. This is the new trade environment. And this is the new reality. And you have to either find ways to get creative or you got to deal with it. And I think the Bulls are just kind of dealing with it, although Zach will be out tonight. And so maybe they'll deal with it that way.
I do like the fact that he is on a first team all buzz right now. So I do like that. Because before, like in my head, I didn't think anybody was trying to look at him for the reasons that you have so eloquently stated over the past few months. So I didn't think too many teams were going to be looking at him at all. So the fact that they have him that high as far as the buzz is concerned just lets me know, people are talking about him. They're just trying to figure out, is it worth it? It's worth it. You want a good player, don't you?
Let me work it.
Put your game down, flip it, and reverse it.
It's sure for been fine, yeah, nipple.
What he said. Come on, man. Like, he's worth it. Like, teams, I guess it depends on who really feels they want to go all in. Like, going in on Zach is an all-in move. Mm-hmm. That is an all-in kind of guy. So, do you feel like, or maybe they're a little, swayed by the fact that he's not really a number one? Coming into whatever team he does, he'll be 2 or 3.
Right.
They could be definitely swayed by that as far as position is concerned, but the skill is, I don't think it's on trial here. What he's done on and off the court, I don't think is on trial here either. His health isn't on trial here at all. It is just simply about that contract. But who wants to take the risk to say, you know what, he can help us get to a championship? Because it's not a deep playoff run if you're spending that money to get Zach. Can he help us get to a championship?
Bueller? Anyone?
That's right. Put your hands up.
I think there are probably... Like the Pistons, I think still make some sense, and obviously they're not a team that's like going for a championship. But like, can he help them get to the next level there in a way where they just signed Cade to a max extension or max contract, but beyond that, they just don't really have like a ton of money committed long term. So like, he's not going to hurt them there financially, but like they just cleared out some space to be able to facilitate some of these other deals, right? So they waived Paul Reed over the weekend and then just re-signed him today. They're slightly above the salary floor, but way below the salary cap, which means they can take in, some of these other teams. For example, the Suns, they want to make a Jimmy Butler trade, and they got to send Bradley Beal to the Heat, and Heat don't want Bradley Beal. They could dump him on the Pistons, for example, and the Pistons could get a pick or two in order to do that. That's the kind of money-absorbing move that I think the Bulls should be willing to do with Alonzo or with a Vooch. But obviously, when you are the team that's trying to send away the contract and have somebody else absorb the money, that's where you have to maybe give up a pick. And I think that's where that whole conversation was about. The Bulls could maybe move Zach if they attach a pick last year. Obviously, the Bulls don't want to do that. I don't think it would be wise to do so. But at a certain point, you do have to just figure out, like, okay, well, what does that do to the value of my own pick this year? Because that reality is becoming, really important at this point.
Very important.
Shout out to General in the comments who said, sitting here in Scotiabank right now. Go Bulls. Hey. Shout out to you. Way to hold it down for Bulls Nation and enemy territory.
He's got more, too.
What's that? Oh, got tickets booked for late Feb in Chicago, lads. First time an Irishman sets foot in the Windy City. Can't wait. Pints, ? All of the pints. Heck yeah.
Come on in, man.
I love pints.
Come on in.
That's awesome news. Always love when international Bulls fans come through. Come through the motherland.
What do you want?
Oh, never mind.
Want some jail for the quaff? No?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I'm good.
Were you gonna say Tim Hortons? Is that what you're gonna say?
No.
Okay.
Tim Hortons does sound good though.
Shifting focus to tonight's actual basketball contest. Who's excited? Bulls Raptors,
Let's
y'all.
Go!
Goat did make mention of it a minute ago. Zach LaVine is out tonight, still dealing with those back spasms, as is Dalen Terry, dealing with the knee. Vooch and Lonzo both on the injury reports, but both given the green lights. Vooch fighting back from that illness, and Lonzo Ball, of course, with his knee management as usual. So that means you're starting 5 tonight. You ready for it? Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Vooch at the 5, and back in the starting lineup, Patrick Williams. How do we feel?
So I haven't seen anything on Twitter about a minutes limit for him.
I was just about to bring that up.
That would be the one thing of just like, 20 to 24 last game. He played only 17.
Didn't he only play like 14?
Or maybe it was less than that. So, yeah, how much is he actually going to be out there tonight? But
Getting the old Keith Bogan starter minutes. I started. You also played 6 minutes.
He needs to be out there. They need to try to develop him. Like that needs to be a priority for this season. If at the very least, so that they can try to move him, right? Because like teams aren't going to want a guy who can't play and is on a longer term contract. But if he starts to look good and put some games together, then maybe he is tradable. And not saying the Bulls like should or need to trade him, but like everybody should be available right now. That's where they should be at. And like your responsibility as a team in order to be able to trade those guys is to put your players in position to build value. And I don't think you can do that with Patrick on the bench.
Do you think I look at Patrick differently than that? Because I think he's still right in that spot of teams thinking, oh, well, he just needs a little coaching. Oh, he just needs a little of this. We can take a risk on that. He's still in that it's okay to take a risk factor on right now. Whether he plays well or doesn't, I still think he's right there in that range because of his age. He's right there. Like he's not like Zach, who's 29, and they've made up their mind about who you are right now. So for me, it doesn't. I think teams will feel the same way about him. If he starts averaging obviously like 20 or something like that, yeah, that'll change things. But
to me, it's like
Matt not throwing hats. We're not about to see that, bro.
To me, like that argument made a lot more sense last year when he was still on his rookie scale deal. Now it's like you're not taking in $8 million, you're taking in 18. And like if I'm going to do that, I need to make sure that this guy's productive. So I need to be able to see that. And then also I think with the injury, it's like we got to make sure this guy can actually be on the court.
Healthy is point, yeah.
And so if he's not playing a lot of minutes, or if he continually has to be like shut down to deal with inflammation, that's not going to make him more tradable. So him being out there 30 plus minutes, like scoring 15 points a game, that's the kind of thing where he starts to look like an asset. And the Bulls are just so asset poor right now. They need to have guys that are assets.
That's it.
They are.
That's real.
Oh, what a delightful phrase that is.
The two
me feel all warm and fuzzy in my dead Bulls.
The two assets that we've talked about is Kobe and Io, and none of us think that they're going to actually move them. So where are you dealing from?
No, you're right. You're right. It's just hilariously sad, but you're absolutely right.
Quick look at what the Raptors have to work with tonight, gentlemen. They're starting 5. Gradey Dick,
your boy,
having a pretty solid second season. He's upped his points per game by nearly 10 points from his rookie year. He was at 8.5. He's averaging 18 this year, having started in all 21 games he's played, as opposed to primarily coming off the bench for the Raptors his rookie year. RJ Barrett still doing his thing. He's scoring just over 23 points a game for the Raptors this season. Jakob Poeltl, of course, their big man. Jonathan Mobo and Ochai Agbaji round out their starting 5. Scotty Barnes obviously out with the ankle. Long-term injury for him. Emmanuel Quickly, who also came over in that trade with the Knicks that brought RJ Barrett here. He is out with an elbow. Bruce Brown, the trusted vet role player, out with a knee. And Jamison Battle out with an ankle, a often used bench player for them so far this season. So Raptors shorthanded. Bulls a little bit shorthanded as well. But as much as the Bulls have been a team that struggled this season, the Raptors are worse. The Bulls at times have a respectable offense. What's up, Katie?
There's 2 things I want to tell you. Number one, before we end the show, I ran a poll about whether or not people would be willing to trade Goat's hair for Bulls draft picks.
It's not really a fair question because it's not their hair to trade, but I'm curious to get the results.
He got to sleep sometime.
I voted yes.
He's got to sleep sometime, baby.
Yeah, so did 63% of people.
63%? Wow.
63%.
I'm going to shave my head tonight, and you guys are going to really, really wish that you
happened to all my
had gone
followers?
the other way.
The other thing
Goat's
is,
going Walter White, y'all. Watch out.
I'm the one who knocks.
I'm really curious about your guys' answer to this question from Scott. What is the minimum stat line requirement for Patrick Williams tonight for us to not be pissed off?
Minimum stat line to not pissed off or indifferent?
Here's what needs to happen.
Score 20.
You need to remove all expectations. You need to not care about the numbers, and you need to just let the Patrick experience happen and hope that he can grow. If you're like still caring about like points, rebounds, assists with him, you're going to always be frustrated. So just try to not worry about that and worry about what he's actually doing on the floor. See if you can like find ways that he's making an impact that aren't in the box score.
Yeah, the game within the game, basically.
The game within the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
score 20.
I think the way that I would
or you can
choose
just be
to answer the question or phrase the question is not
Matt will be
minimum stat line to not be pissed off, but like what can Pat show me tonight that would make me feel something again about Patrick? Because right now and for a while, I feel nothing.
Yeah.
I feel empty. A hollow vessel when it comes to my feelings about Patrick Williams as a Bulls fan.
Yeah.
Show me something other than what you've shown us, and maybe that candle will respark inside. But I'm not expecting it to. It's cold and it's windy in there.
Yeah.
On Patrick Williams Island, it's cold and windy.
I like how it's cold and windy, but that candle's still going.
I'm saying it could get relit somehow.
Shout out, right?
But it would take a freaking miracle.
Yeah.
Like you drop a 30-point triple-double tonight, Pat. Dude. Something might move inside me.
I agree.
I agree with that. Let's not go crazy. If you're like, hey, you got 14 and 8 tonight. Whoop-de-frickin' do. Just a quick look at Raps, guys. They are just outside top 10 in the NBA in pace. Not quite where the Bulls are in second. But where they are very different is that they are just 29th, second to last in the NBA in three-point attempt rate this season, .361. Opposite side of the spectrum from our beloved Bulls as far as how many threes they're getting jacked up. And they also, aren't exactly that good at hitting them either. 34%, 24th in the league. But again, they've got RJ Barrett who can get buckets. Gradey Dick has been doing more for them offensively this season. This could be an opportunity as the Bulls held an opponent to 95 points in their win on Friday for the Bulls defense to maybe show us something. Because again, you're missing a couple of key pieces if against this Toronto team.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if RJ Barrett went for 30. I wouldn't be shocked at that at all. They struggle. They've been struggling lately defensively. The Chicago Bulls have. No matter who's been on the floor for the opposing team, it's been a struggle. You got to watch guys like young Gradey, man. You got to watch him. That dude's been playing incredibly well, as you stated. Like, that is a piece that they have right there in young Mr. Gradey. So, yeah, I think Barrett is a concern. I think Grady's a concern. Everybody else, they always play well against the Chicago Bulls, man. Every single time, they always play well. So, I don't know why they get up for those games against the Bulls. They just do. The Bulls struggle with that kind of size. They are always disciplined, and they're always pretty well coached.
Right.
No matter, if they're winning or losing. That's kind of the team that they are. So I'm interested to see how it plays out for the Bulls.
Real quick before we get out of here, because we got tip-off just right around the corner, a very interesting question from Jelly in the comments, who asked if Troll Joe hangs thumbs on his Christmas tree.
Oh, wow. That's a great question.
I think... and we can check our sources, but I think Troll Joe is Jewish, actually.
Yeah, we can check the sources.
Does he have a menorah made of thumbs instead of 8? Well, they could still be candles. They could just be candles that are shaped like thumbs, and then the wick is at the top of the thumb.
Yes,
and so they're like 8 lit thumbs ups as a menorah.
Yes,
that would be my educated guess as to how Troll Joe is decorating the underside of his bridge. Yeah. Around the holiday season.
I mean, he's no short of thumbs. You know what I mean? He's got them, man. He's collecting them. But he always wants more. Give him more thumbs, ladies and gentlemen. He needs them.
Yeah.
I wish I could show the people Troll Joe, but we're in Studio B, and
Troll
I don't
Joe
even have the freaking graphic.
Troll Joe lives in Studio A. Y'all know what he looks like.
That's it.
We are out of time because tip-off is right around the corner. Bulls and Raptors up in Toronto. Thank y'all for joining us for pregame. Hit that like button. Bears pregame still going on for a little while longer before their kickoff. So just go find their stream right here on our CHGO Sports YouTube channel if you want to watch that while we watch the first quarter of Bulls and Raps. That's right, Rob. More modest minutes. More modest minutes. Give me all the modest minutes every night for the rest of time.
Yes.
Will the GOAT, Big Dave, Peck, Katie on the controls. We will be right back here for postgame, and we will be joined at some point postgame from Marc Stein to get his latest on all this trade stuff we were talking about in pregame. Enjoy the hoops. See you, Red. Be good.
Peace.
Wow.
We all silly like the mayor.